Alright, I know the title says fancy grilled cheese, but we gotta get back to basics before we can go fancy. So to make the very basic grilled cheese, you're first gonna take 2 pieces of white bread, or whatever bread you have. I prefer white bread for the basic one, and you're just gonna butter the outsides. You could also use mayonnaise as well, if that's up your alley. And then you're just gonna take the 4 sheets of what I like to call yellow plastic. I decided not to put them on the bread right away, just kind of get them unwrapped first because I didn't want to get butter all over my hands, and then I kind of laid them out in a structure that would fit well onto the bread. And as you can see, I did that there, close it up together, put it on the grill. And what you really want to do with grilled cheese, you want to pay attention that you're not cooking one side too much or cooking it too less, because if you cook it not enough, it'll fall apart when you try to flip, but if it's too much, you could get burned on the other side. So as you can see, I moved it around a little bit there just to make sure it wasn't sticking, so the butter was doing its job since it wasn't. And as you can see, it's golden brown there. Once I flipped it, that's the ideal color you're looking for. The cheese is starting to melt. It's getting all over the place. That's all right, though. It didn't ever hurt anyone. So it's just got a little bit more to go there, and it's going to get taken off real soon, and then we'll get a nice cross-section here. Alright, so here's the basic grilled cheese done. I'm going to do the classic cut diagonally, and as you can see, once I'm done horribly messing that up, you can see the cheese stretches nice well. It's pretty melted in there. I went with 4 slices, which could be a little bit more than you normally go with. I took a bite out of it because it looked too good, and as you could tell, I was pretty satisfied with it. But we can do better. For this next grilled cheese, I decided to go with something a little bit different. I decided instead of regular butter, I was going to use garlic butter on the outside, but that is not really easy to spread, so I decided to melt it real quick, and it's done. So once I had it melted, I could begin to start assembling my sandwich. I went with fresh mozzarella, or as fresh as we're going to get in the Midwest. Fresh mozzarella, and put it on the sandwich. Put a couple basil leaves on there for some extra flavor. Kind of went with like an Italian theme here. And coated one side of it in the melted butter. Put it on the baking sheet and started grilling. And as you can tell, I had the panic set in here when I realized I didn't quite have enough butter to cover both sides, but not to worry. I quickly kind of softened some up and put some butter on the other side. I flipped it. It got a little brown a little quick because I think it was because the butter was melted before I started grilling. And as you can see, I actually added more butter to the other side because I was worried the same would happen. I turned the heat down a little bit actually, just in an effort to try and get it to not burn. It actually started to come out pretty well. As you can see, I'll press it down here shortly to get everything really, I guess, squished together. And that, I think, really helped a lot. This one had an excellent stretch, though you can't really see it in the cross section here that I'm about to do, but when we were eating it, sometimes you get all cheese and no sandwich. It was kind of interesting. But yeah, so here's the classic diagonal cross section, and enjoy my hair getting in there. As you can see, the mozzarella is melted, you got the thin layer of basil, and that one turned out pretty good. Now we really get into the fancy territory. We're not using any of that regular Italian bread. We're going for the gourmet stuff. So as you can see, I'm going to cut it in half here, and I actually had a little bit of difficulty with this because that knife was not big enough or efficient enough, so I got out a bread knife and actually got caught with that slice. So I just kind of set that one aside, had my sister eat it. It's pretty good bread. So I cut out 2 more slices of it and got that ready to go. And I am going to clear off my area and get all the other ingredients in now. Yep, so once I have everything in, I use several different cheeses, the first being regular goat cheese, and I tried some of that, and let me tell you, that is what made the sandwich there. You could spread it, so it was kind of almost like a paste, and it really covered the whole thing, and it melted so beautifully. The other one actually has a little bit of honey in it, which you could consider weird. However, I tried a sandwich before that had honey on it, and the sweetness was a nice addition. I actually put some prosciutto on this as well, because we're going all the way on this. That's about the most expensive deli meat I could find at Mariano's, but let me tell you, it really was good. I also went with Havarti cheese, and you might be thinking, those are a little big slices for now. Yeah, it was, but they melted. And I also put tomatoes and arugula on there for some vegetables. And I used mayonnaise instead of butter this time for the sides, and it actually got it a lot more crunchier and not as greasy, which I think fit really well for the sandwich. So once it's done grilling, I'm going to do the classic cross section here, and let me tell you, I don't think I've ever had a better sandwich in my life. That thing was amazing. I ate the whole thing, and I do not regret it. 10 out of 10 would recommend making it that way.